Hey guys, happy Sunday. A little different this week. No intro video. Just going to talk a little bit, do some housekeeping before we get going. But I am going to be cleaning some books. So first things first, if you haven't seen my recent videos, I did get approved to be media at Fan Expo in Chicago coming up. August 15th to 17th, I think. So if you're in the area, you're going to be in Chicago, stop by. I'll be there getting some video, buying some comics, all that good stuff. Eric from SideQuest, also, he just applied as well. So hopefully he'll get that as well. And we'll get some video, some content, some of the show, especially if you're not local to Chicago or you're not local to bigger conventions. It's a pretty good size convention. It's very like celebrity based, whereas C2E2 is more based around like the artists. There's a huge artist alley at C2E2, but Fan Expo's got great celebrities. Like Hayden Christensen's going to be there, John Cena, a whole list of people. Check out their stuff, fanexpo.com, the Chicago one. They go all around the country, a lot of the same celebrities from show to show. But yeah, check it out. Like I said, if you're going to be in town, hit me up on Instagram, Johnny Shop 0 on Instagram. Let me know you're going to be there. We'll catch up, meet up. Also, I did mention it on a stream this past weekend, just in text. So next weekend, I think I'm going to try and do a live heritage tutorial, and I'm planning on starting it with when the auction starts with heritage. So instead of doing a cleaning next weekend, it'll probably be Monday night, which is the Silver Age night. Probably start around 5:30 Central Time. And what I'll do is I'll go through the whole process with heritage, how you bid, how it all works, try and explain it. Like I said, I use it all the time. A lot of people have had questions and they're not sure on how it all works. So next week I'll put something out probably Monday or Tuesday this week on Instagram of what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. But yeah, so stick around for next week, the heritage tutorial. Like I said, it's a great website. It's a great way to pick up stuff for good deals or rare books. It's just understanding it's a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people, and I get that. I was overwhelmed at first too, but I've been using it for a few years now. There's some stuff that goes for way more than it should, but there's a lot of stuff that goes for way less than it should too. So probably be next Monday night, 5:30 Central Time. Like I said, the Sunday night, it's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday auction, the one that I really like. They have auctions every day for all kinds of different stuff. I mean, they auction wine, houses, movie props, coins, rare earth minerals, like all kinds of stuff. But, comics is kind of where I stick. They do video games on Wednesdays. I think they do like original art auctions. And then they have like their quarterly big auctions, which are like the Fantastic Four 1 in a 9.6 and the X-Men 1 in a 9.4 and major books. But that weekly Sunday, Monday, Tuesday auction is really fun. And so Sunday nights it's all Golden Age. And then Monday night, the same auction, it's all Silver Age. And then Tuesday night is all like from the 70s on. And I think they also have like random lots on that too. So yeah, so if you're around, check it out or check it on replay. Like I said, it's probably going to be, I don't know what that date is. It's like August 4th maybe. But I'll put some out and we'll you'll have some more details on that. If you're interested in bidding on heritage auctions, that'll be a great intro on how it all works. So let's get to what you probably came here for, which is some books to clean. So let me switch these cameras if I can figure out how to do it. Looks like there. Should switch the cameras to my desk area. Maybe. There we go. All right. Now we have camera. So put my backing board. I always like to work on a backing board. And then we'll just go through some of these books. I kind of had them up, showed them. So first one we're going to work on. These are modern. I don't work on a lot of modern books as far as cleaning, just because traditionally modern books don't get dirty. The paper's different. The gloss is heavier. But we're going to inspect this one and go through it and make sure it's all good to go. This is a great cover, Batman 666. It's got, the fire and which is great with the 666 number. It's also the first Damian Wayne, not Damon Wayans, Damian Wayne as Batman. I think it's a fast forward like future. But yeah, so this pretty key book, Adam Cooper cover. As always with every book, no matter what it is, no matter what era, I always start with the cotton round and gloves. Of course, gloves, can't forget gloves. Gloves are mandatory on modern books. It's just mandatory. It's so easy to get a fingerprint on these. And the way that this stuff, the gloss is on this, it just grabs your fingers. So you definitely don't want to work on one of these books after like 1985 without gloves on, just because the gloss changed. And you should wear gloves on most books. Like I've said in the past, the ones I don't use gloves on are usually the more rougher books. And that's just because I really want to feel everything and make sure I don't overdo anything. So a little bit of dirt on there, nothing too crazy. We'll flip it over and just give the back a once over as well. Usually I would flip sides, but since we got so little off, I'll just use this side. And you're feeling for imperfections. You're feeling for little pieces of grit stuck to the book. This is as much cleaning it as it is feeling it. Make sure that, you could feel like if there's something inside the book. A lot of times you open up, especially older books, and there's just some crud on one of the pages inside. When you do this with the cotton round, you can actually feel those and then flip through the book and find out where it's at and then get it off. So again, no real dirt off the back. So there's nothing I can clean on the back here. There's no white other than possibly these rings around his finger or his hand. But looking at it, I don't really see any dirt there. So it's not necessary. But what I'm going to do is kind of assess the back of this. There's little teeny tiny scrapes along the bottom here. I doubt they're going to come through on the camera. And there's a little bit of rub right here. I think those two things probably are going to drop this book down to a 9.6. If I get the right grader, it could still get a 9.8 with these things, but it should be a 9.6. I would say their grading on moderns has been very user-friendly recently. I've gotten better grades than I should. I was just got some information from Bry's Comics, some books I cleaned for him. And 3 of them that I thought were 9.4s and 9.6s all got 9.8s. So, again, it's a good time to submit modern. As soon as I say that, when you submit it, it's going to be 4 months before you get them back, and they're going to be crappy grades. So we're going to look at the front, kind of do the same assessment, because there's not really, other than the UPC, there's not a lot of cleaning I can do here. And again, I'm going to assess that box, see if there's anything like, a lot of times you see just little bits of dirt, and I do see some little bits of dirt. So I'm just going to do a little quick once over with my little eraser. And again, I'm not saying this to like pimp out the stuff, but if you look in the comments, all the stuff I use, most of it's linked, and it's more just so you get the right tools. It's not about me getting, making money off of it. It does help, but it's so little. I mean, if you buy this pen, I think I get like 12 cents. So it's not like I can retire, unless, you bought 100,000 of them, and then still I'm only, what's that, $120. So, so it's not a lot of money, but, like I said, it's more about you getting the right tools, the stuff I like to use. And there may be something you find better, but it's hard to beat this thing for sure. Best tool in my arsenal. So clean that up. Looks pretty good. I'm going to, again, kind of, what I'm doing is I tilt my head like with the light so I can get the different angles of glare. And you can sometimes see little imperfections or stuff you need to work on when you press it. So I can see right there in the light, there's a little crease right there. So I want to be mindful of that when I'm pressing it. But again, there's nothing else I really need to do from a dry cleaning standpoint other than just assess the cover. There's a little teeny tiny scratch right here that just scratches the gloss. Just barely scratches it. It shouldn't get a deduction for that, but it could. Again, looking at this with what I saw on the bottom, on the back, and the tiny tear here to staple, it's probably 9.6. Still a good book, still a book I'm going to send in. But again, not a whole lot of cleaning necessary. And you'll see that, you'll find that a lot on modern books. again, it's more about the pressing than it is the cleaning with modern stuff. What's up, Rich? So next up, continuing on with some Batman goodness. This is Batman 635, the first Red Hood. Fun fact, if you don't know this, if you were a kid of the 80s or late 70s, and you're my age in your mid 40s, and you watched The Real World when it came out on MTV back in like 1995, Judd Winnick, that guy right there, was on the first season of The Real World, and he ended up writing quite a long time for DC and other comic books. What's up, JSS? So if you ever want to see who Judd Winnick is, the writer on this book, check out Real World Season 1. You'll see him on there. It might have been Season 2. I might be off, but the guy who wrote this book was very much on The Real World on MTV. And I said nothing about comic books when he was on the show because, like I said, I watched it. I was like 15 or 16. So this book, we're going to go through our assessment again. Again, looking at it, I don't see much I can clean here. The UPC looks good. I look at the top. I don't see anything there, but what I do see that sucks on this book, there's a bend here. I can get this bend out. It's got like a little arc up. There's a crease right here in the corner that breaks color that I'm not going to be able to fix. I don't know how well you can see it. It's right on the DC logo. I'll be able to flatten it out and it'll look better, but there'll still be a little bit of white color breaking. So again, that's going to kick this down to a 9.6. The other thing that's very hard to see, and it's weird because I've not really ever seen this, in this corner, there's like a little tiny spine split right at the tip. Usually you see from, The Miz. Yeah, I remember him too. But he's also like camera facing, so like it's easier to correlate the two. Where that Judd Winnick was, like I said, he's not forward facing. He's a writer, but he also never mentioned anything about comic books when he was on the show. So comic books weren't cool then. They're cool now. But yeah, if you see this corner here, there's a little tiny split. It looks like a bindery tear, but it's more than a bindery tear. I mean, they can be, once the color's gone, it's gone, JSS. You can conserve. There is ways to retouch color that's considered conservation. So if I was to fill in that crease right there where it breaks color with red, it's going to get a purple label, unless you use conservation techniques, which is usually more on high-end Silver Age books and Golden Age books. And with conservation, you still get the blue label, but it has a gray line across the top of the book, and it says conserved. So if you've ever seen the new yellow and black labels for the signature verification, it looks like that label, except for the yellow is blue, and the black part would be that gray, and it'll say conserved right in the middle on the top. And again, you could conserve this, but it's kind of, it's not that expensive a book. It's not really worth. If you really wanted this in a 9.8, you can go find it. It's not ridiculously expensive. Where if you wanted, if you have a amazing Fantasy 15 that's just shredded, and you pay a good chunk of money to get some conservation, not only is it going to look a lot better, it's going to keep it intact. And that's more what conservation is about. It's about making the book last rather than making it look better. You can usually feel conservation, like when covers are reinforced, it almost feels like cardboard, like a cardstock cover. And they didn't use cardstock in the 40s, 50s, 60s. So a lot of the covers, that's a big thing they did, is reinforcing the cover with different stuff, with rice paper, different techniques. I am definitely not a conservationist. I'm not super familiar with it. But if you watch Jerry the Jitterbug stuff, he goes through a lot of those techniques, and it's more about saving the book from further deterioration. But yeah, once the color's gone, it's gone. Again, but I can mitigate that quite a bit. You can probably see that little bit of white on the DC logo right in the corner here. And if you get the right angle, it's got a nice big bend in it. I'll be able to get all that bend out. I just won't be able to get rid of the white. So that's going to drop it to a 9.6 would be my guess. And then again, don't need to clean anything on there. We'll go over it with the cotton round, just if there's any dirt. feel for any imperfection. Yeah, no worries, JSS. That's what this is about. Trying to share my knowledge. I'm by no means an expert, but I know a little bit about a lot of different things, and comic books is one of the areas I know probably more than I should. I think most comic book people feel that way. I mean, I'll sit at work, and there's a guy at work that's he's very curious about comic book collecting, and he's always asked me, "What's the first appearance of this guy or that guy?" And it's never like tough characters. It's always like, "What's the first appearance of Wolverine?" Like, I mean, everyone that is anything in comic books knows what that is. If you're an average collector, you're going to know books like that and the first Spider-Man, stuff like that. He doesn't ever ask like, what was the first appearance of the Red Hood? Like that. That's one I'd have to think about. It's like it's in the 600s, is it 34, 36? He asks about like the major characters. First Iron Man. So not feeling much. Probably not going to get much dirt. There is actually a little bit of dirt on here, so I got a little bit off. Again, same assessment on the back. I see a crease here that I can press out. Not a problem. Yeah, well, I guess that's true, JSS. I should not have used Wolverine as a when is the first appearance, because it's definitely a debatable first. I guess Gambit would be the same way. I agree with you in that I feel like Hawk 180 is the first appearance of Wolverine. He was there. He was in the book. But 181, he's on the cover, and obviously it gets more notoriety. But I tell you, 180's been kicking up in price. Like, I don't have a 180, and I've been wanting to pick one up, and I just see it just keeps going up in price, especially higher grade ones. So I probably need to pick one up before it gets too much out of my range. So there's also a crease up here in the corner. Doesn't break color. Be able to get rid of that. And there's a little crease there that might break color. So I think this is probably going to be a 9.6. Outside shot, it's a 9.4. Definitely can't. If it gets a 9.8, I would be disappointed in the CGC. Like, I'd be happy. I'd be happy that it's a 9.8, but I would be disappointed because that should never let it be a 9.8. That color breaking crease right there. So again, not much else to do with this book. So we will move on. That was the first appearance of the Red Hood. I don't want to spoil who it is, but if you don't know, this is the Red Hood unmasked. So I bought an auction. I think it had there was 7 of this in there. Hey, I like the Foom books. The Foom 10's been on my want list forever, and I don't want one with the label on the back of it. Like I just don't want the mailer label, and it's so hard to find one without the label on it. And then if it doesn't have the label, it's got like rusted staples, which I don't buy books that have rusted staples. So it's like I want that Foom 10. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can really debate a lot of different stuff. All right, so Batman 638, the Red Hood is unmasked. If you can see the picture, you can tell who it is, maybe. Again, I'm not going to spoil who the Red Hood is if you haven't read this book. So there's a couple things on this that's very hard to detect. And one of the things I will tell you is this will help detect one of the things we're going to talk about here. If I'm rubbing here, I'm again feeling for imperfections. When I get down to the bottom, it's got a ripple. And I can feel that ripple very, very easily. Feel that ripple, and that means that it's gotten wet. Wet, you can work with wet. So if you look, you might be able to see the ripples if I get the light the right way. There you go. You see those ripples? So that's a water damage. There's no color damage from the water, so that's a positive. And what we can do is when we press it a little bit harder. I usually don't add moisture to modern books. On this book, I will add moisture specifically to try and get some even moisture across the book, because while it doesn't feel damp here, it still has a higher moisture value here than here. So what I want to do is add some moisture up here to try and equalize that. And you can see inside here, there's some same thing. I'll flip it around. that angle again. Yeah, so you can see those little ripples in the bottom there. That's all moisture damage. And again, very fixable with a press. It's harder to fix on modern books. It's much easier to fix on older books, just because they're more pliable than these newer books. But again, if you can't see that, and I can see it here in front of me, you wouldn't be able to see it on the screen. If it's very, very minor and you can't see it, you would feel it when you do this. You would feel those ripples in the book. And it's not like it's a special feeling that if you don't know what it is, you would notice like, oh, something's going on here. I can feel something going on here. So that's one of the reasons. What will probably happen is you'll probably have a little bit of color distortion. And the severity of that really depends on how much water damage it had. I won't know that until I press it the first time. When I look at the rest of the book, again, there's limited white, but nothing that needs to be cleaned. There's a couple non-color breaking spine ticks. Those will press out. A little tiny bindery tear here that shouldn't hit me. And then we'll check the back and see if hopefully the water damage didn't come through to the back, because that's good. That means it's only hit the first layer or a couple layers. But then I see some more non-color breaking spine ticks here. It looks a little dirty on here, but it's not actually dirt. It's this white. It's like a dirty white color. So I see a couple more spine or little creases here, and this corner's got a ding. So that corner's going to keep it at a 9.6 for sure. Again, with a right grader might miss that. It's pretty unlikely they would miss that. It stands out. But then I'm going to rub over it again and see if I feel it. I don't feel that. So I don't feel that water damage on the front. So what happens is probably somebody had this where they were drinking water or had something there and spilled some water on the top of it. Is soaked in, or they immediately got a towel or something and got it off. And it would have quickly went through the first page or two, but it wouldn't have done any like major damage. So that's a positive on this book. But yeah, other than that, I think we're pretty good. The big thing on this one is going to be the press, the first press. I'm really going to have a good idea of what its potential is after the first press is done. But again, this book basically done, and you're going to see that a lot when you hit the 2000s and newer. They're pretty easy to clean. I mean, I could go through, if I wasn't talking to you guys and I just had a stack of modern books, I could go through 100 books in probably 2 hours, just assessing, wiping. I mean, the problem is the time part of it is more the press itself, and sometimes the multiple presses. That's where the technique and the skill really comes in. This part of it's pretty easy to pick up and learn, especially when we're talking older books. Older books are just, I mean, they're so forgiving. So next book up, this is one we unboxed recently, and this is X-Men 4 with the Jim Lee signature. First Omega Red. I don't think that's a debatable first. I think this is actually the first time we see Omega Red, but there could be some argument there. So what I want to talk about this one's signed by Jim Lee. You can see the gold signature up here. Signature doesn't change anything, or doesn't change a lot when you're going to clean and press a book. I would never hop a book that has a signature on it, because that hop would potentially pull some of that ink off. But dry cleaning, I would dry clean it. But what you do is you just act like that's color, just like the red. I'm not going to erase on the red because that'll, create a little bit of a light spot. It's the same here. If I need to clean this, I'm just going to work between the signature. And there is a little bit of dirt there. Heat can be the same. Everything else can be basically the same. The only thing that's really different is no hop on a signature book and no erasing on it. But again, you shouldn't be erasing on anything that's colored in the signature. No matter what it is colored. No one's, if they signed in white, which I guess is possible, don't clean their signature. Don't put an eraser on a signature. So I'm just going to kind of hit some spots where I see a little dirt. This book's definitely a 9.8 candidate, and I will be submitting it with the signature. I'm 99.99999% confident that's Jim Lee's signature, because he has a very unique signature. I guess the right person could learn how to forge it, but if you were going to forge Jim Lee's signature, I don't know if this would be the book you should be doing it on. which, I mean, it is a pretty good key. But, you know, it's if you can forge signatures, you should be forging someone else's. He signs all the time. I saw a video of him at San Diego, and I mean, he just had stacks and stacks and stacks of some foil Superman, Batman. And he signed them all in. I mean, there's probably 30. He signed them all in less than a minute and a half. I mean, he has it down. You know, but it's pretty simple. If you were to sign this, you look, he just does this, this, this. So Jim is just a bunch of humps, and then Lee is down, up, down, out. So it's a pretty quick signature. It's kind of like Frank Miller's. If you ever see Frank Miller's new signature, he does like a big loop this way and a big loop this way. And I'll be honest, it doesn't look like an F or an M, but you can kind of tell it's Frank Miller's signature. So yeah, so we're cleaning again. I'm not too concerned, especially this is like gold Sharpie. I mean, that's pretty permanent stuff. You know, I'm not too worried about my hand sitting on gold Sharpie. You know, if I got it wet, that could be bad, but that's why we're not going to hop. But I also wouldn't hop a modern book. I'm sure you can hop modern books. I just don't. That's not something I've practiced or even have any desire to, because I can't think of a modern book that would need it, that it would benefit from it. I mean, if you take all of the most valuable modern books like Ultimate Fallout 4, Batman Adventures 12, books like that, like hop's not going to help those books. You know, the back of them is colored, and that more helps with white fading and dirty white, and those books just don't have it. So we're going to lightly clean in the X just because it looks like there's a little bit of dirt. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm just treating that like it's the ink on the cover. It's no different. Again, a lot of people, you know, they get nervous about stuff like this, and it's like, don't stress about it. You know, treat every book the same way, whether it's worth, you know, $30,000 or $3, and then you don't have to worry about it. You know, be consistent. If I'm willing to do it on $100 book, I'm willing to do it on $1,000 book. I'm willing to do it on a $10,000 book, because, you know, if you start deviating and changing up how you do it, that's when you're going to make a mistake. You know, if I do this book one way and then I pull out a 9.4 Incredible Hulk 181 that I want to try and get a bump on, and I start using different techniques or being more cautious, I got a higher probability of messing that book up than of making it better. Or, you know, any major keys. You get a 181 is actually a good book to work on because it's got a lot of color. You take like an X-Men one, which has got a mostly white cover, you know, that's a great hop candidate. And I would, you know, I did clean and press my X-Men one, and I treated it just like I did every other white cover I did. Because I don't want, like I said, if I deviate, that's when bad shit happens. You know, you undersaturate the paper and it sticks to the cover, or you oversaturate it and it gets too wet. It's just be consistent. It's like everything in life. If you do it the same way every time, you're going to have consistent results if you're using consistent techniques. So there's a little more white on the back here. Again, it's a dirty white. So it looks a little dirty, but it's actually just the way the white is. When I look in the back, the big triggers I see that would be CGC dings or things that I don't want to be there for CGC. There's a little wrinkle in the corner here. No way you can see it, but I'm going to press that out. Not a problem. There's a little bit of dirt here. It could be ink transfer. It could be dirt. But I'm going to see if I can just lighten it up a little bit. It's right around the staple too, which is very common if they're stacked on top of other books. That other book's staple would make like a little metal line. You see a lot around staples. So yeah, partly it's dents too. So little dents from either another staple or something else on another book. But it looks a lot better just by that little bit of a light clean. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it doesn't need it. And again, that's something else. If it doesn't need to be cleaned, don't clean it. You're just taking a chance of making it worse, you know, of causing damage. So we got another little line here. kind of same thing. I'm just going to lightly go across it. And it looks like that's pretty good too. I don't see anything else, so I think we're going to call that one good. And again, like I said, if you're cleaning a book with a signature on it, don't be afraid of it. It's not that big a deal. And you know, like I've said in the past, I don't really like working on modern books. They're just not as fun as me because you can't get the same improvements. It's not that I dislike it, and I still clean and press every modern book that I grade or every newer book. But man, you can see such substantial change on a dirty book from, like, you know, the 60s. You know, I'll pull one out here, this stack of stuff to work on. I'll show you one that is a great example of a book that can have a lot of benefit from a clean and press. So this book, you know, it's Fantastic Four 67. I've already cleaned it, so you can't, you know, you can't really see the benefit of a clean because it's been cleaned, but it was dirtier. But you can see it's smashed flat, which I can work that roll out, that flatness out with the spine. I can fix that roll. You know, a lot of people are, I'm going to do something, and a lot of people are terrified of this. And I just want to show you that it's not that bad. I promise. You can take this book out and lay it flat and flatten that out completely. Doesn't hurt this book at all. It's not like, you know, remember in library, they always told you, don't lay your library books down with the spine open. You know, it'll damage the book. Doing this, it will damage the library book. It could damage a comic book, but most of the time it won't. You know, I can clean this spine a lot better if I flatten this book out like this. You know, and I can work that spine. And then when I go to, you know, I would actually, this book specifically, and it's hard to show this technique, I would cold press this flat. I just have a piece of like plexiglass that I just lay flat on and put a couple books on it and let it sit for a day or two. And then it comes out and it's perfectly flat. And then I'll add moisture. I'll basically refold it, and what I'll do is it'll be flat and it won't have a seam. And I kind of line up this here. And I do just like when I'm folding an envelope. I just work my hand out slowly, gently, and it should get the spine a little back to where it should be. This one's not got much spine roll. It's more just misstapled and smashed. But you can work that out. But again, this book has a ton of little mini wrinkles on it that'll come out with a press. It'll get a hop. It'll look a lot better with a hop. Some of this browning will go away. I mean, the grade's not going to change much on this book because the defects it has aren't going to change with hop, but it's going to look so much better. And I say that all the time. Like, don't just clean and press them to make a better grade. Like, I want them to present better. I don't care if this gets a 4.0. If it looks like a 6.0 and gets a 4.0, that's great. This probably will look like a 6.0 and get a 4.0. And I think that's realistic. It might even get a 3.5, but it's going to look like a 6.0. All this browning will mostly be gone. You'll have a little bit brighter white on this cover. Same with the back. It's going to be a little bit brighter white. What's killing this book is there's a tear here that's that big. There's a big chunk out here. The corner's missing. I can't fix those things. No matter what I do, that's not going to improve. And again, those aren't things that I'd work on. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't clean a book that was a modern book that had those kind of defects because it's really not worth it. So we were talking modern though, so let's get back to modern. This is kind of one of those transition time frames, this book here. So this book came out in like early 80s, I think 82, 83. This Batman 357. I believe this is the first Killer Croc. First cover Killer Croc. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. It's something with Killer Croc. I'm very confident of that. I just don't know what. I think it's not the first cover because I think on the cover he's over here somewhere. But again, this is a book. It's modern-ish. You know, it's copper age. I could hop this book, but I won't. I don't feel that it's going to. This cover wouldn't benefit from it. It's not got much white, but these books have a lot more gloss, and you really got to be. You don't want to take that gloss off. But then, like this book, these are back when you still had the white backs. I mean, you see all this stuff will come off. There's a dog ear. You can see it. I'll actually bend it so you can see it because it's bent. There's a dog ear that was bent right here on that corner, and it's got a little dirt buildup right on the crease. The crease will go away, and if I erase and clean it the right way, that the darkness of that will go away. But then, like, if you can see it, and I think you can probably see it, there's like a right here. There's like a let me move that so you can see that black line that's right there. That's an ink transfer, and it just comes off just like dirt does. You got to use it takes a little more work, a little more time, and you just gently erase and just keep working it. You know, be mindful of the gloss. You don't want to remove the gloss. I'm very lightly going across this, very, very lightly. And you just keep working it. It's already a little bit lighter, and we just keep going. Again, be mindful. Keep an eye on the rest of the book. If it starts losing a lot of shine and this is still shiny, stop. Because it can get like pushed into the gloss, and that's obviously not good. But it should come off. You know, there's a couple techniques that you can use. The eraser works. You know, I don't talk about this as much as I should, but the absorbing pad is really good for stuff like this. You just kind of give it that. Again, I'm always pushing away from the cover, and I don't talk about my absorbing pad enough. I use it when I need it. I don't use it on every book, but man, when I do need it, it's a great tool. So it's getting lighter and lighter. I don't know how well it's showing up, but then the one last thing that I never talk about, because this stuff is dangerous if you don't do it the right way. And don't use this on Silver Age books. Only use this on higher gloss books. But absorbing putty, it's cleaning putty. It's made to clean books, wallpaper, papers. But if you push too hard, if you use too much pressure with this stuff, what will happen is you can push it into the paper, especially on Silver Age. So be careful if you're going to use absorbing putty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of knead it a little bit, like I'm making some bread. And then I'm going to roll it into a little like flat, like a sausage. Like Chonko says, it's a spicy little sausage now. And then you can just lightly roll over. Again, be mindful. It's a little tacky. So when you pull this way, keep your finger up here, and it'll slowly pull some of the dirt out. And then you don't want to reuse this stuff. It's not expensive. I mean, a little tub of it that I showed you, I think is about, I think it runs like $7 or $8, but it's not that, I don't use it enough to where I have to worry about it. What I've seen people do, and I would caution you to do this, I've seen them take it and drag it across the book like this. I would caution you not to do that. It's so easy to tear a book doing that. Just roll it. You know, and it should roll out just like if you're rolling out like some cinnamon rolls or something like that. The more I roll it, the longer it's going to get. You know, you remember playing with Play-Doh in school? Same concept. We're just making it longer, a little bit of pressure. Again, as you get closer to the edge, make sure you hold that edge down so you don't tear it. And it's picking up a lot of dirt. You probably can't see it in there. There's hair. There's a little tiny hair that I couldn't see on the book. But this is a good tool too. So, you know, don't be afraid to try different stuff. And then, you know, like I said, with this spot here, just keep working it. You may find that you've gotten it as good as you can get it. And if you get to that point, that's fine. If it's a printing defect, you're definitely not going to. Sometimes you'll see that. I'll tell you a great example on Hawk 181, Incredible Hawk 181. There's a ton of those books that has like a color thing right here. You got the corner boxes up here, and then right below the corner box in here, there's like a color defect on a lot of those books. And CGC doesn't, you get no deductions for that. Sometimes it'll run all the way down the edge. It's almost like something was caught on the print roller. So if it's a printing defect like that, definitely don't try and work it out. It's not, it's okay. It's, you know, it's okay to be there. So, So yeah, I think we're gonna probably stop there. This book's gonna take a lot of work, so I'm gonna spend some time on this, and I don't want to just keep erasing and you guys just watch me erase. So hopefully you got some good information out of this stuff. You got some input, some stuff, some ideas. If you have questions, always don't hesitate to hit me up on Instagram or leave a comment below and I'll respond. I'm going to switch over back to my pretty face too. Let me swap over. All right. So hopefully you'll be able to see. And there it is. Look, glasses off because I can see better up close with my glasses off. So I do take my glasses off when I clean, usually, so I can see better without my glasses on. I think it's farsighted. I can't see stuff far away. I can't read. Maybe it's nearsighted. Hell, I don't know. It's one or the other. I'm either nearsighted or farsighted, but I can see really good up in front of me. So when I'm trying to clean a book and I have my glasses on, it's very hard for me to see and make out little details. So, thanks for popping in, guys. Just a reminder, Fan Expo coming up in Chicago. It's at by O'Hare in Rosemont. It's a great convention site because it's easy to get in and out of anywhere. If you're within an hour and a half of the city, it's an easy day trip. There's a lot of free parking around Rosemont. It's not like going downtown for C2E2. And then next week, like I said, not going to be cleaning next Sunday. Going to be doing a Monday Heritage Live tutorial. This auction starts at 6 Central Time, so I will probably go on about 5:30 and go through some of the login stuff and how you can search their site and go through some of that details. Like I said, I'm gonna look into it and see what I'm gonna do. But then next Monday night, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, I believe it's August 4th. We'll be going through Heritage. Hopefully, you can get familiar with it. You can bid on some stuff, maybe. Buy something crazy, get you Amazing Fantasy 15. At least now hopefully the tutorial will show you how the site works, how the buyer's premium works, which a lot of people get stressed out about the buyer's premium. It's really pretty simple. You're going to talk your wife into drop off. What are you dropping off? I'm confused, Eric. She going to drop you off? You're going to drop off some CGC books? You're going to drop off the internet? It could be many things. So yeah, Heritage tutorial, whatever the Monday is around August 4th. It may be the 5th. It may be the 3rd. I'm not really sure what the date is because I'm not looking at a calendar, and I should have probably did that before this. So, again, I buy tons of stuff on Heritage. It's a fantastic thing. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think it's not too bad for you, right? You're not too far. What are you, like 45 minutes maybe? I think I'm about the same. It's about 45 minutes for me to get to O'Hare. Maybe a little less depending on traffic. But I love the convention site itself. It's such an easy place to get in and out of compared to C2E2. Like downtown, man. Downtown's tough. If you're driving into downtown, like I park my car on Friday downtown and I don't move it till Sunday. I get a hotel downtown, even though I'm only like an hour away, just because it's such a hassle getting in and out of McCormick. If you're there and you just stay there, it's nice. But obviously there's an expense with staying there in downtown. I just tend to like to stay at C2E2. It's much better. They actually make it, its timing is nice too. It's always in like the end of March, which is, most people right after tax time. It's like, it's kind of smart if people are, using their tax returns as comic book investment money. It's perfect timing for that. Where, Fan Expo is a little closer. Fan Expo is a little closer to like not so much holiday stuff, and so you're kind of in that saving for Christmas mode. It's hot as hell in August. March is nice, but you got to worry about rain sometimes for C2E2. So yeah, so don't forget, guys. Like I said, next week I'm getting close to 3,000. I think I'm like 90 subscribers away from 3,000 subscribers too. So we are giving away the Incredible Hulk Foil 181 at 3,000. So if you haven't left comments on videos, leave comments. Leave comments on all of them. Everyone's an entry. Somebody's going to get it. I've said it before. I'll send it anywhere. And yeah, if you popped in live, thanks for watching. If you're watching on replay, leave a comment, and we'll see you guys hopefully next Monday night, a week from tomorrow, August the 4th, I think. All right, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy your Sunday.